dramatic home run from that man, right fielder Ryan Ludwig last night. The Cardinals would win it 3-2 over Washington. Yes, Hanley Ramirez and the Marlins are here, and yes, he is in the starting lineup. Big crowd expected tonight once again. Another two-game series here from downtown St. Louis and Busch Stadium. The Florida Marlins and the St. Louis Cardinals. Welcome to Cardinals Baseball, along with Al Raboski. I'm Dan McLaughlin, and obviously, Al, things are on the upswing for the Cardinals with a couple of wins, and last night, late fashion heroics, Cardinals really needed that home run.
You're right. That could have been kind of an ugly loss. It looked like it was headed to extra innings, and then Ryan Ludwig steps up and saves the day. It was a great two-game series as the Cardinals dominated in that, not only with their pitching, but with the runs scored, hits. It was just a good all-around effort. Maybe a few too many errors, but Ludwig saved the day.
Yeah, Ryan Ludwig, this is in game one, late in that game. Watch this catch for the best we have seen this year in right field. Then last night, the aforementioned home run, and that was a big one.
Well, it really was. Right after Brendan Ryan gets picked off, the next pitch really just changed the atmosphere here in St. Louis with the home run, a game winner right there, and made a winner out of Carpenter, which he richly deserved.
Now, we're going to talk about the Cardinals rookies momentarily, but before we do that, let's break down Jaime Garcia. Just how good has he been this year, and he'll get the start tonight.
Well, Dan, he hasn't done anything to disappoint. Every time he's taken the mound, he's gone at least 6 innings. He's not allowed more than 2 runs. But when you watch how he goes about his own business, there's no reason to think that he's not going to all of a sudden stop doing this. You know, he's very poised. Everything is at the bottom of the strike zone. He really changes speeds. And as Dan Radisson, a manager who had him in the minor leagues, saw him, he said now he's pitching inside for the first time. So both sides of the plate.
Jaime Garcia, the lefty, will get the start for the Cardinals tonight. We'll continue that theme when we come back, as we'll talk about the rookies on this team making a big impact. That means David Freese and Jaime Garcia. Kids these days. That's next when we come back. in their lineup tonight for Freddie Gonzalez. They've had 3 overall in the history of their organization. Dontrell Willis, the first one to do it in 2003. He was 14-6. Hanley Ramirez won a batting championship a year ago. Hit .292 in the Rookie of the Year season of 06. And then Chris Coughlin a year ago, hitting just .222 this year, but .321 a year ago, .162 as far as hits, and he scored 84 runs. As far as the Rookie of the Year this season, the Cardinals have a couple of candidates, and we'll start with everyday third baseman David Freese.
Well, David Freese, his ability to drive the ball the opposite field, he's getting plenty of opportunities to knock in runs with the hitters in front of him. He's become a real complete player. You talk about the pitching, how about Jaime Garcia? He's tied for the lead with wins with 4. Every start he's made has been quality. Every time he throws the ball, it's down in the zone. He changes speeds really well, and he is really setting the tone. He's second in the National League rankings for rookies with innings pitched, tied for first with wins, and ERA is number 1 also.
So Jaime Garcia, David Freese, those two highlighted in this portion of our Open as we edge closer to our first pitch. We'll take a look at the fan of the game coming up next on Fox Sports Midwest. To our first pitch, it's the Cardinals and the Marlins. Only a 2-game series tonight here from Busch Stadium. Well, you're looking at Jane Sacro Chatham of Belleville, Illinois, the winner of our Fan of the Game photo contest. This week's prize is a Craig Jig Toolkit from St. Charles Hardwood. Every week is a new contest with a new winning photo. All you have to do is head to foxsportsmidwest.com and send us your photos and enter to win. Once again, head to foxsportsmidwest.com. We'll be back with more. It's the Cardinals and the Marlins coming up tonight on Fox Sports Midwest. town St. Louis, and the Cardinals are back to their winning ways. Last night, game winner off the bat of Ryan Ludwig. The Florida Marlins come into town. Some controversy, although Hanley Ramirez is in their starting lineup tonight. Jaime Garcia gets the start, the electric lefty and rookie. Baseball is next. Finish, it's what we do. By Dobbs Tire and Auto Centers, #1 for quality tires and expert auto service. By Steak and Shake, life needs flavor. And by Chevy's expert auto service. See your Mid-America Chevy dealers or shop and compare at STLchevy.com. Nice crowd on hand. The Florida Marlins are in town. And it's game one of a two-game series. Let's take a look at the Marlins lineup. Chris Coughlin, the former Rookie of the Year, hitting .222. Their first baseman, Gabby Sanchez. Hanley Ramirez has apologized to his teammates and manager, so he's back in the starting lineup. Jorge Cantu is their cleanup man. Dan Ugla, Cody Ross, the former Pirate, Ronnie Paulino, Cameron Maben, and Anibal Sanchez, the Southwest Airlines starting lineup against one of the top rookies in baseball. The Marshall Wireless sprint starter for the Cardinals, making his 8th start. He's 4-2, coming off a win Friday night in Cincinnati. Jaime Garcia.
7 starts, 7 quality starts. He is not allowed to run, and only 5 hits in 14 innings pitching here at home. Only 1 home run allowed. That was in his last start. And we learned a little bit more about his personality afterwards.
But the big story here tonight concerning that man shortstop. Here's Freddie Gonzalez on Hanley Ramirez just moments ago.
No, you know what? It doesn't matter for me. It's not between me and Hanley or his comments. I think we're all parents here, or we're not parents, or have kids. You know, sometimes our children will say something that hurts, but it's no big deal. We still love them. And we won't change that for anything else.
It's Freddie Gonzalez, the manager, and there's a look at Hanley Ramirez. He'll bat third tonight. He did conduct an interview in Spanish, and he said, "I feel bad that things got to this point. The team and the fans don't deserve it. We're all professionals. We're after the same things, and I'm going to try to end this matter and focus on playing baseball." And by apologizing, Al, you get the feeling he's done that.
Absolutely, and you move on. I mean, these things happen when you actually get closer with your teammates. You live with them more so than you do your family. 8 months during the season, and things happen. Like Freddie said, you know, I mean, certain things happen with your kids. You still love them afterwards. Wish it wouldn't happen, but we all grow and learn from it.
I think you would agree that Freddie handled that situation the right way when it initially happened, then again yesterday, and what's being said today.
Most definitely. Freddie's an outstanding man, and Hanley didn't realize how hurtful when you say, well, what does he know? He never played in the big leagues. But he's a very good baseball man. Maybe didn't play in the big leagues, but he had a long career in the minor leagues. Been a minor league manager. He's been a coach, now a big league manager. He's paid his dues.
Jaime Garcia, through the first 7 starts by rookie since 1969. ERA-wise, it's the 4th best. And that dates back to the early 70s. Garcia 1.42. The best was Fernando Valenzuela. The Dodgers had a .29 ERA in 1981. 2-2.
That was just so unusual with Fernando, what he did right out of the gate, and spectacular. But don't take anything away from Jaime. And how he's doing it, Dan, I don't see it where he's going to stop.
It's seeking action. And a strikeout to start the game. Take a look at the defense behind Garcia tonight. Holiday, Rasmus, Ludwig in the outfield. Freese, Lopez, Schumacher, Pujols along the infield. And again, it's Jaime Garcia and Yadier Molina.
Jaime just dominated left-handed batters. They're batting under 100 against him, but Sanchez here hits lefties very well.
Looks at a strike.
Marlins have had pretty good success. They've almost won half their ball games this year against left-handed starters.
8th start tonight for Jaime Garcia. 1 ball, 1 strike. It's now 44 2/3 innings for Garcia. And the strikeouts starting to pile up a little bit for him. Doesn't walk many. He's walked 16 on the year. Look at that tailing action on that pitch.
Absolutely right. I mean, he's just got, he's got 4 pitches that they have movement, and for the most part, he keeps the ball down. But watch the late action on this pitch. Look at that, just down and diving away.
The 1-2. What a start here for Jaime. 2 strikeouts. Now that's 38 strikeouts on the year.
Young pitchers get enamored with strikeouts. They love them. Get a little older, you kind of feel like you don't need them. But breaking ball up here, just down and in. Hitter sees it. He's a 366 hitter against left-handed pitching, but obviously really not picking up the ball and smattering the boos. That doesn't happen often for a visiting player.
Tell you what, that was more than a smattering. That was pretty loud for Hanley Ramirez.
I'm old. I don't hear well.
Ramirez hitting .293, 7 home runs, 20 RBIs. Very exciting player. He has signed a long-term deal with the Marlins, face of their franchise. That's tapped foul. Not to say that anytime it's good to have that kind of situation, but even more so when you have a superstar and a guy that represents what's happening now and in the future for this organization.
In a perfect world, they would have just total harmony. They'd be on the same page all the time, but we've got to remember these young kids, and all of a sudden you come from a depressed economic situation as a youngster, and then all of a sudden you're thrown into superstar status with mega millions of dollars. It gets to your head a little bit.
But as you have said time and again, no excuse. Right? I mean, you've got to run. You've got to make that play.
And what happened was he fouled the ball off his foot in the first inning, went to the field, and a little fly ball that went out to the left field, he really barely went after it. Slider, and lays off it. But in his effort to go and try and get the ball into shallow left field, he kicked it. The left fielder was coming in, so when he inadvertently kicked it, but he just trotted after it, and 2 runs were allowed to score.
It looked
terrible.
2-2. Garcia's trying to strike out the side. Little bouncer, Schumacher off his glove, and can't make the play. So a 2-out base hit for Hanley Ramirez. Remember, Schumacher and a couple of errors last night. That would have taken a very good play to get a speedy runner in Hanley Ramirez.
Somebody asked me with some of the offensive problems with Shu, is it going to his defense? And I said, no, he's got a 8-game hitting streak. He's starting to hit the ball well. And it's just too simplistic. But, you know, he really lets little things bear on him and wear him down. This is an interesting matchup right here.
These two are from the same hometown.
They also, Cantu invited Jaime to live with him in the Houston area this offseason. And he also recommended him to go to his workout facility, where he credits that really turned his career around after he was released. And he's been an outstanding talent for the Florida Marlins.
2 outs, runner at first. And I asked Jaime from your town, Reynosa, Mexico, who's the most famous baseball player? Thinking it might be somebody from way back when. And he said, right here, Jorge Cantu. He said, this guy, everybody knows him. He's a huge name in that town.
Jaime even played with his younger brother. He's about 5 or 6 years older than Jaime. And you know, he played with his younger brother, but a neat story. But sometimes you don't really want to live with an opposing hitter.
1 ball, no strikes with 2 outs. 2-0, 2 outs and a runner at first. Opponents come in only hitting 197 against him. We saw an emotional rookie on Friday night when he gave up that long home run to Stubbs.
I thought it was a real positive sign of how much he wants to be a perfectionist.
Out of play.
In a good way. You know, sometimes, and we've been talked about his counterpart tonight, Sanchez, is they say he's a perfectionist. Well, but sometimes he gets himself in trouble by nibbling and getting high pitch counts. Well, that's Jaime just has supreme confidence in his ability. He doesn't think people are supposed to hit against him. That's sort of that attitude that rubs off from Carpenter.
It's 67 degrees here in St. Louis. The 2-1 pitch to Cantu, instead another check on Ramirez. We're expecting an awful lot of rain tomorrow for game 2 of this series, and hopefully we'll be able to get it in. Cantu hitting .377 with runners on. Little grounder, Lopez off his glove, and it's a base hit.
Well, there's 2 balls that very easily could have been gobbled up, and both of them have scored infield singles. Looked like Felipe actually got beyond this one, hits him on the heel of the glove, and then he can't hold on to it. So he really, when he dove, left his feet and dove, his reach was a little bit beyond the baseball.
Dan Uggla, here's a guy with tremendous power. He's homered in 9 games this year, 10 total. Marlins are 7-2 when he homers, and that includes yesterday's win for the Fish. Off-speed pitch, way out in front for strike 1.
Recent homestand, Uggla hit better than 300, had 4 home runs, 7 RBIs. It's another that has a distinct difference in 100 points more left-handed batter in batting right-hander against a left-handed pitcher.
No balls, 2 strikes. You see where he could be very tough on these right-handers out with that pitch that tails away from the right-handed hitters.
And it's key that, you know, to have a breaking ball coming in, have your fastball that you can throw on both sides of your plate.
1-2.
The slider there, a little harder. Dan Radisson told me something, and I said he was a manager, but he was a coach in the minor leagues. He said one thing that he saw the difference with Jaime now, and when he saw him the last couple of years, is he wasn't pitching inside. He was on one side of the plate. Now he's pitching on both sides of the plate.
2 balls, 2 strikes. So again, he has 2 strikes on a hitter. Can he put him away?
Tried to pull down on that curveball, and it got away from him. It's not that cold, but we've seen at times when Jaime, when it's a little bit cooler weather, he doesn't have the curveball, but he always has that slider.
Pitch number 23 here in the first inning. Spoiled by Ugla. Now here's a Marlins team that comes in, and I think when you look at it from a national perspective, not many people expecting big things from the Marlins. It seems like they're always retooling, but yet they always find themselves, it seems like, in the conversation for the wild card or potentially to come out and win this division. They're 21-19, only 4 games back.
And don't you think that's a positive reflection on Freddie Gonzalez?
No doubt.
His team's ready to play.
Count runs full.
You know, they sacrifice defense for offense with Ugla. And he's one of the better Rule 5 pickups the last few years.
What a great one. Those two will be off with the pitch. That's Ramirez and Cantu. Bases loaded. Garcia got the first 2 as strikeouts, back-to-back infield hits. Walk to Ugla. And here is Cody Ross. And time called by Molina. He wants to talk it over with his rookie.
I'm sure Molina's just talking positively, trying to get Jaime back. We've seen him really much shorter rein when he goes out there to try to rein in Jaime. But last season, Cody Ross hit 3 grand slams. You don't think of him being a grand slam hitter, do you?
Much less a home run hitter. Only 2 on the year. So pitch number 26 here in the first from Jaime Garcia. And it's a strike.
Feel for that curveball right now.
Marlins had 4 home runs on Friday night. They have some pop in the middle of their lineup. It's pulled foul. So again, he has a hitter at 0-2. And the Ramirez, the 2-out single, followed by Cantu with a single, then the walk to Ugla. They have not hit a ball out of the infield, but yet they have the bases loaded.
Goes up the middle. Schumacher and Felipe Lopez trying to help him out, but a lot of extra pitches because they couldn't put leather on the ball.
Strikes out the side. Cardinals coming up in their half of the first. St. Louis, and it's the Cardinals and the Marlins in game 1 of their 2-game series. The switch hitter and shortstop Felipe Lopez, followed by Ryan Ludwig and Matt Holliday. Albert Pujols, Colby Rasmus, David Freese, Yadier Molina, Skip Schumacher, and Jaime Garcia. Anibal Sanchez making his 8th start. He's 2-2. And opponents are hitting .288 against him.
And false start.
Felipe Lopez homered in the ball game last night.
It's cleat caught as he is starting, so it's really no pitch.
And even he could smile about it.
Yeah, Sanchez has not allowed more than 2 earned runs in each of his last 5 starts. Going 2-1 during that time. He has a no-hitter to his credit.
And Felipe, the switch hitter, pops one foul. He's really given the Cardinals now some protection here at shortstop with the struggles offensively of Brendan Ryan. He's 6 for 17 against this righty. 1-1 pitch. Did not go. 2 balls and a strike.
Looks like Felipe keeps on looking for something a little bit harder in the off-speed pitches, but hold him back. And that's why Sanchez is giving him something other than fastball.
2-2. That time a breaking ball. Top of the 5th. We'll keep an eye on this. The Braves leading Cincinnati 3-0. 2-2.
Let's wait till the 9th.
I said I'll keep an eye on it, Al. When the 9th comes up, I'll give you that score. I might even cheat to give you the score before then.
The Reds are playing. It doesn't matter until the 27th out.
Playing very well. 23-16. 2-2. And Lopez a swing and a miss. Now they're going to say it's a foul ball. And Felipe gets a new life.
Sanchez can't believe it. Freddie Garcia will come out and talk to our home plate umpire, Brian Knight. This is a carryover of the crew that was here the first 2 games of this homestand, and there's no contact. If he heard anything, it was a ball hitting the dirt, but it didn't hit bat.
He missed it by a half foot.
Yep. And Freddie, I'm sure, saying, hey, ask for help.
It's Brian Knight, our home plate umpire. Greg Gibson at first. Jerry Davis, the crew chief, he's out at second. Sam Holbrook at third.
I'm sure this crew is thankful that they didn't switch after the first 2 games, that they get a full 4 games until tomorrow with the rain.
Could be here for a long time. And rain apparently is supposed to hit later tonight here in St. Louis.
That's one of the problems you have with these 2-game series. If you run into rain and you're only here 1 time a year,
you're stuck. 3-2 the count.
And it's important for the Cardinals to jump out and get a lead, because that rain could come into town as early as 9 o'clock.
And if we wouldn't have rain, it's a quick turnaround for both these teams with the ball game tomorrow afternoon. So we get a 2-game series in a day and a half as Lopez hits it in the air. That's out to center, Cameron Maybin. Top prospect with Detroit, then was traded to the Marlins, and he puts it away for the first out. Coughlin, Maybin, and Ross in the outfield. Left to right along the infield, Cantu, Ramirez, Uggla, and Sanchez. And it's Anibal Sanchez, Ronnie Paulino, the former Pirate, and that's your Dobbs defense. Here's Ludwig. Ryan, the big home run last night in the 8th. He's been swinging a hot bat. This is slicing. And caught. Nice play on the run by Cody Ross.
We see Cody Ross play a very solid defense in center field. And now with Maybin here, he moves over to right. Nice play.
So again, the defense for the Marlins. Saw that fine play by Ross in right field. And we've seen Ross in center before, right. So you know he's got good speed out and right.
And played very well in center field.
So go back to the catch on the run near the line. not used to this ballpark, and that sidewall will come up on you in a hurry. Holiday, 1 ball, 1 strike. Average at 289. He's hit 4 home runs, 14 RBIs.
Not a lot of bats for Cardinal hitters against this pitcher. Holiday, 1 for 2. Yeah, we always talk about the Florida Marlins and their fire sales, and what a tremendous job they always do in rating other clubs' minor league farm system. And Sanchez is an example of that. He was acquired back in November 24th, 05 from Boston Red Sox, along with Hanley Ramirez. Got a couple other pitches, Jesus Delgado and Harvey Garcia, but that was for Beckett, Lowell, and Guillermo Mota. But, you know, he had to get rid of those high-priced guys, and they got a lot in return.
2-2 is hit out to center. Maben won't get it. Josh Beckett has been getting knocked around this year, and he was roughed up in his start against the Yankees. And apparently he's dealing with a sore back, and he may go on the disabled list. Our keys to the game presented by Toyota. Get to him in the first. You see that ERA is close to 8, and opponents hitting over 300 against him. That's our key to the game.
He looks really slow and deliberate in this first inning, just trying to settle in. Almost as if, you know, like, well, I know I've got so many pitches. I want to go deeper into a ball game. But you leave that bullpen, you better be ready for the first, because you might end up losing it in the first.
Here's Pujols. And by the way, Josh Beckett did go on the DL with a lower back strain.
And for the Cardinals, you got to be ready in the first, knowing a guy gets better as he settles in. We had an off day broadcasting when we were in Florida, and Josh Beckett was in to negotiate his contract. And John Henry, the Boston Red Sox owner now, was the owner of the Marlins and a friend of mine, and he was telling me.
Pujols slices it down the right field line and foul.
I was in John's box, and he went to talk to Beckett and everything else. He came back and he was saying, yeah, boy, this kid's pretty confident. He said, I'm not going to be in the big leagues in 3 years. I'm going to be a National League All-Star in 3 years. And he was like a high school kid.
Out of Texas.
Out of Texas. He was like, I want to say their number 2 pick or something. But John walked away saying he was pretty confident in his ability, and we all know that when he's healthy, he's able to back it up.
You know, you have to give a team like the Red Sox some credit where they develop players and draft well enough to get in the superstars that they do. They have enough to trade.
That's a market, and a little bit like the Yankees. For years, the Yankees, you could be in their farm system, but you weren't going to wear the Yankee uniform. You were going to be used as trade bait to get other established stars. And
Pujols hits it into left center. That's a base hit. Holiday on his way to third. This is like the other night, that first inning, Al, game 1 against the Nationals. First 2 got out, then Holiday walked, Pujols single. Rasmus picked up an RBI hit. Freeze the triple, so let's see if they can get something going like that tonight.
Never get tired of looking at this swing, and the head stays still, the body, you know, the back is erect, balanced throughout the swing, really focusing on the point of contact and follow through. And as you said, Colby got the game winner 2 nights ago, and in a similar situation. Hope he can do it here.
Two outs, 2 on. Colby played in 147 games as a rookie a year ago. And of course, did not take home the Rookie of the Year honors. That went to Coughlin, Wizard left fielder. Here's the 0-1. Make it 0-2.
You know, Dan, you mentioned 147 games. That sounds like a lot. But there was a lot of defensive going in for defense. There wasn't that many starts. And even though his numbers were very good, as he led rookies in home runs last year, or no, he was second with 16. Led all rookies with that 147, but weren't that many starts.
See a gap there in right center for Colby.
But most of his damage on the road this year. It's early.
Saw last night Brendan Ryan picked off at first in a key spot, and then Ludwig bailed him out.
Let me see Joe Patini coaching first base again, as Dave McKay's back is better, but still barking a little bit.
The 1-2. I talked to Dave before the game, and as he was walking, he was not comfortable.
Well, you can see walking, you have a bad back, it's distinctive.
Here's a 2-2. Colby, a swing and a miss. The Cardinals will strand two. No score after one. In baseball, what is the worst that you think you could do? Not hustling to a hit ball, not signing autographs, sleeping during a game, not knowing the number of outs. You can text ACT, A, B, C, or D to 432-432. As a player, Al, what would drive you crazy? I mean, especially if you're that pitcher on the mound and a guy isn't hustling after a ball that has been put in play against you.
Well, there's no excuse for not hustling. That's the number one rule right there. But I think we all assume nobody's supposed to fall asleep. Unless you're a closer of today, then it's acceptable. I still disclaimer disagree. But
who said it was acceptable?
Oh, how many of them do now? Lee Smith, all these guys started taking naps. Make them up in the sixth inning.
They may do that, but that doesn't make it right.
Well, and trust me, I agree with that. And I think you have a responsibility to sign autographs. There are times the fans don't realize there are times that there is time commitment, meetings or something to go to.
Oh, nice play. Schumacher positioned perfectly up the middle. And takes a hit away from Ronnie Paulino. Paulino is hitting .338 against lefties.
Yeah, Paulino over the last several years is just scorched. But you see where Schumacher is. So a one hopper gets over there. That ball was hit very hard.
Exmo Cam presented by Plaza Tire Service. And now Cameron Maben. Not knowing how many outs, inevitably we'll see one of the outfielders this year flip a ball into the stands.
I mean, that happens. I mean, it shouldn't happen, but it does happen.
My favorite is when they flip it into stands and then they try to go get it. Some kid's holding the ball. He thinks he's got a souvenir. Guys are running around the bases and he tries to retrieve it. Maybe a fly ball out to center. 2 outs. This is something that we have done in the past, and we're very proud to do again. July 2nd, a live satellite link from Afghanistan will connect our Cardinals ball game that night and that day against the Brewers to the Missouri National Guard troops there. Yesterday, Adam Wainwright autographed banners for 3 units in Afghanistan. They'll watch the game. And all you have to do is, if you'd like to find out more about this, we call it This One's For You. And what we plan to do, find out more at foxsportsmidwest.com. Maybe you have a family member over there and we can send along a message. And again, log on to foxsportsmidwest.com. This one's for you.
Yeah, make some banners, put them out here. We'll take pictures of those, and a lot of fun. Tuesday, we got a couple little excursions in San Diego. Some of the guys are going to go visit the Navy SEALs. I've set up a trip to Miramar Naval Station, go tour some F-18s, and let you fly in a simulator if you want to.
And that's a walk to Sanchez. You ever seen the movie Spies Like Us, Al?
Yes, I have.
Am I going to walk out like my face going backwards?
No.
Okay.
No.
See Tony not happy that Garcia walked Sanchez. I just want to make sure I'm going to be all right.
Yeah, it's one of those unwritten rules, but you don't walk the pitcher, but it happens at times. Also, I told you today that I got a call, and when we're in D.C., we're going to go out to Walter Reed, see if we can get some of the guys to go out to Walter Reed and see some of those heroes.
The ball taken low by Coughlin. He struck out to start the game. One ball, one strike. And a ground ball, base hit. So following the walk to the pitcher, base hit to left. And it's first and second with 2 outs. Coughlin just went with the pitch.
Coughlin got off to a horrible start, but he's been batting near 300. No breaking ball, but it's up a little bit in the middle of the plate. Further away, may not have had the same success. But Coughlin, after a slow start, starting to show why he won the Rookie of the Year last season.
Here's Sanchez with 2 outs and 2 on. We talked about how Trevor Hoffman yesterday blew another save. He's 42 years old. All-time saves leader. He has blown 5 saves this year.
How far away from 600?
Still, he's, I believe, only a handful away.
Yeah,
we'll look it up, but he had an interesting quote, Al. He said, I always said the hitters would let me know when I'm done, and they're talking awfully loud.
Somebody was asking about him, and said, I know he's trying to achieve, a milestone. I said, don't worry about Trevor. He said, he'll know, and he won't stick around just to achieve that. If he's hurting the team, or he will understand if Maka goes and gets him one of those days where he doesn't quite have it.
It's going to be a tough conversation, though, if you're Ken Maka visiting with a guy that has great pride, keeps himself in tremendous condition.
596, 4 away.
There's a broken bat, Freeze, force play at second, and the Marlins strand 2. Midway through 2, and there's no score. brought to you by Kia Motors. To learn more, visit kia.com. And right now, Jack in the Box is offering a variety of menu items and letting people choose any three for only $3 plus tax. Tony West, our cameraman, on top of the Hilton when he took those shots. That was done about an hour ago or so. Gorgeous looking shot of downtown St. Louis. We want to thanks to the folks at the Hilton. Here's David Freese as we start play here in the Cardinals half of the second. Freese, Molina, and Schumacher. And a strike at the knees. David hitting .305.
Playing the pole a little bit in the infield. And then we agree with the outfield alignment. They hit it to the opposite field, out to right.
Milwaukee, by the way, 9 games under 500. They have lost 8 straight. Jim Edmonds just went on the DL.
Yeah, Jim checked a swing oblique over the weekend. Thought he'd be okay. Wouldn't have to go on there, but they replaced him, put another pitcher on their roster.
Freese a strikeout, and Sanchez has 2 tonight. I was about to say, Al, I mean, that conversation, if you're Ken Maka, would have to be one of the most difficult in his career when you're dealing with a future Hall of Famer and a guy that is the best ever statistically at what he's done.
I disagree because of Trevor Hoffman.
So he'll make it easier for you.
Yes, yeah, he'll make that conversation easy for him because he's such a class act. And
Molina, base hit into right center. Maven over to get it. 1 out single. Another base hit to right and another hit the other way for Yadier Molina. Southwest Airlines Fox Tracks.
Inside out stroke, down and in, and thinking that you're going to take it up the middle helps you with that mental approach. Skip quietly is getting that average up there. 236 now with an 8-game hitting streak.
1 home run. He's driven in 8. 1 out runner at first.
Drive me crazy when Joe Torre, at times when Lee Smith was having some problems here, and Joe Torre would say, I'll bring in the big guy in the 9th inning and I stop Mange. Well, sometimes you got to realize he doesn't have the stuff that day. And, you got to make those tough decisions. When they don't have it, you might have to take him out earlier than you would.
That's pulled just foul. Cody Miklas here locally on his radio show had a conversation. I thought it was a great interview with Jack Clark and Andy Van Slyke. Those two are in studio. And Andy brought up a really interesting point for those of you that didn't have a chance to listen here in town. But talking about video, and he said video can be fine. He said, but I like it before and after the game. And it follows up to the point of what you're talking about. He said, a lot of times, if you make an out and then you go back and you don't pay attention to the next inning, that pitcher could lose a little bit on his fastball, or he might lose a little bit on his breaking ball, or the changeup has gone away. And Bernie had those two on his program. Of course, Jack, part of our post-game shows. But I thought it was a great observation from Andy Van Slyke is that, you do rely on video to an extent, but you also have to make sure that you're doing things the proper way, which is to watch what's happening on the field.
There's no doubt about it. Yeah, there's no doubt about it. And that's the criticism that guys don't really trust their own eyes. What does it look like when you're standing in the batter's box? You see it from a camera's perspective, or the fact that after every at bat, you got to run in and just, review and review and review. And as you said, you might, by watching, we always show, Pujols is guilty of both. But I mean, I shouldn't say guilty, but, how many times he just studies, tries to pick up something from the dugout.
And that's the point. And Bernie did a good job of following up that point for folks that, we're in this every day. We see it all the time. But for the casual fan, that watches the game, he kept on hitting the point of, all right, now take me a little bit further. What's going on in the dugout? What are you watching? And I thought it was fascinating to listen to those three talk about it.
I remember, Andy was a first base coach at the big league level as late as last season. Jack's been a major league hitting coach, so they've both been indoctrinated into the video, but they both came up at a time when the only thing you had was a physical scouting report, and then watch the pitcher stand in the batter's box or from the dugout, find a like hitter, study how he pitches that guy, and try to figure out, well, maybe he's going to pitch me the same pattern. And that's all you had to trust.
And the thing is, too, Al, they could, have perspective on what's going on now because, as you mentioned, they're coaches now, but yet played in a generation where video really wasn't that much of the game, that big a part of it.
Yeah, and Mark's been away from the game for about 8-9 years, and he's seen how the video evolved even more. He likes video, but he likes it as one aspect of it. And how he said, I would go up there, I'd want to to say, okay, I'm gonna look location, I'm looking away. He told me against Sanchez tonight, because he likes to pitch in and out, he said, I recommend the guys to try to take it up the middle. Really don't look just one way, but if you start saying, okay, I'm going to look in this time, I'm going to look away in the next pitch, you're always going to be one pitch ahead or one pitch behind.
Runner goes on 3-2. Good at bat here by Schumacher. Only play to step on the bag. So Molina winds up at second with 2 outs.
And Mark always said, I knew what a guy's pitches were. So if I was looking away, I was prepared to hit any of those 3 or 4 pitches that were away, not just one. And where today, where you're so dependent, and they become such dramatic guess hitters, where they look for one specific pitch. That's why we see a guy take a fastball right down the middle, and even in a hitter's count, you say, what is he looking for? Well, he's looking for the other pitch. And then you'll see guys that will get a breaking ball that's a foot outside, and they're swinging at it because they're expecting the fastball.
Right. 2 outs, no balls and a strike on Jaime Garcia. Very light drizzle here at the ballpark. Extremely light.
Dan, Jaime is 0 for 2. He's batting 167. He has 1 for 15, 1 for 16 in his career. Mark McGwire keeps on telling me he's got a good stroke. He's got a good stroke. That's all I've seen him do, hit ground ball.
At least he puts it in play. Give him some credit, right?
Right.
No score after 2.
5 or 6 games a year. But you got to cover Kansas City too, and I'm trying to get to all the college sports, so I try to get something a couple times a week.
Mike Shannon, you and Mike had a chance to visit a little bit before the game. There's Mike. Of course, he's on the phone. And Mike had a special award tonight. Tell the folks at home what he received before the game.
This is the 50th year of something called the Missouri Squires. It's a group, 100 Missourians that have excellence in certain areas. Mike was elected this year. We nominated him. He was elected to be one of Missouri's 100 Squires. He takes the place, in essence, of Jack Buck, who passed, obviously, and he gets a cane, so watch out.
That could be dangerous.
I put that red cape on it right there to take care of things.
You and Adam Wainwright, and I think it's important that we bring this up. I was driving home from the ball game, and I heard you and Adam with your spot telling fans about the dangers of tobacco and whatnot and smoking. And there you are. You two had a chance to visit before the game. But, Governor, for folks that are out there that don't know your initiative and what you're trying to do, and that ball is foul off the bat of Hanley Ramirez, explain exactly what you're trying to do.
Well, Adam is helping us in our way to target and promote our quit line, where folks can call into our Department of Health. Last year we worked with Fox, with y'all, and had a campaign that led to thousands of Missourians, adults, quitting smoking. Plus, he's had kids taking the pledge not to even start using tobacco. Adam's a wonderful role model. Spoke this year at the Governor's Prayer Breakfast. He and Jenny are just wonderful role models for the community.
1 ball and 2 strikes. What's that conversation like down on the field? You're visiting with Adam Wainwright. What are you guys talking about? Are you giving him advice?
He's just jawing a little bit. I mean, so you're talking to an athlete on a field before a game. He didn't even have to play tonight, so he's pretty loose tonight. But I think that when it comes time for him to pitch, he gets pretty tight.
He does. 1-2 pitch and a ground ball base hit. They had a shift on as Schumacher was close to the bag at second. So Hanley Ramirez, in his return to the lineup, is now 2 for 2. Just tell us where you're from and how your love of the Cardinals began.
Born and raised down in DeSoto, Missouri. I remember being at Old Sportsman Park watching Stan Musial play, following Harry Carey and Jack Buck and the Cardinals. Saw the 67-68 series, was actually at the games. We used to come up a lot of those day games during the day, an excuse to, especially in May, miss a part of a day of school.
And having a chance to visit with Mike Shannon, I know for anybody that's born and raised here or grew up a Cardinal fan, that's always a thrill. That must have been a thrill for you tonight.
It really was. Well, I'm disappointed he didn't finish his football career at Missouri. He could have been a heck of a quarterback.
I knew you were going to say that.
We missed out on some things we could have had there. He should have gotten the 4 years of football, then moved to baseball.
Sure.
Things would have worked out just the same.
You know, Jack Buck used to say that Mike Shannon was the greatest athlete to come out of St. Louis, and if he would have played football, he would have won the Heisman at the University of Missouri.
Just an incredible fluid throwing motion for football. I mean, some of those folks just step up there and show it. Sam Bradford, I mean, just a big, strong kid, very competitive. He was a heck of a player.
Where are your kids going to school?
Both of my sons are at the University of Missouri. One will be a senior next year. The other will be a sophomore. So Georgiana and I are blessed to have our boys near home.
And they're involved in sports. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Well, kind of all Nixon's attempt to. I mean, my oldest son was a runner in high school. My youngest son plays on the University of Missouri golf team, so he gets plenty of activity out there hitting the small ball.
Now, do you get to play any golf, or are you too busy?
Well, I used to until my son was about 8 or 9 years old and started kicking my tail, and it became a lot less fun. So I only keep score in August.
That's pulled, and it's 1 ball and 2 strikes on Jorge Cantu. Jay Nixon, the governor of the state of Missouri, is with us up here in the broadcast booth. We had a chance to visit with you last year. To follow up once again on the initiative that you and Adam have been working on, it's wonderful to have thousands of people quit smoking or using tobacco. And that's something that I'm sure that's got to make you very proud.
It really does, and we also thank you all here at Fox Sports. I mean, there's a lot of soft help in the marketing and whatnot. It was you all that reached forward to start the process, like it was done in Florida. And that kind of leadership, and then a player like Adam, who's just a great role model for kids. It was a win-win for the state.
Now, last year, and I don't know if the guys in the truck have it, we had you throwing out the first pitch. You might remember, and it was an eventful.
A little wide left.
It was a little wide. Do I need to bring the tape out again?
No, I think so. The earlier in the season, I threw one out earlier, which got a little bit of the white thing there. But Adam made me, that's to say, I mean, he was jawing me last year. I threw that pitch. It was a little outside, and he made me throw it again. I think I'm the only guy that they made throw 2 first pitches because Wainwright was a catcher. I asked for the biggest catcher I could possibly have. I throw the ball, it's outside. He catches it, and then he makes me throw it again in front of 40,000 people to make sure it's embarrassing. But when you watch the Outdoor Channel this year and see him miss a deer 3 times in a row with a bow from about 30 yards, we'll be about even.
Oh, now that the cat's out of the bag, I'm sure he's going to appreciate that. Here's Dan Ugla. And Jaime Garcia would love a double play here. That's strike one. Now, you didn't have a chance to go down away from everybody and warm up. You know, President Bush did that. President Obama did that. But Jay Nixon, no. You just went out there cold and let it rip.
I played catch back at the mansion a little bit every once in a while with some of the folks. But no, I didn't warm up. Next time I will. I can find something near the plate if I have to.
Well, we see beyond the left field wall right now. That's where they envision Ballpark Village. And I know that's something that, you know, you've been behind and you want to see happen. And for our fans that are listening statewide and across the Midwest and watching tonight, where do you see this right now, Ballpark Village, for a guy that has you know, such a passion for the Cardinals?
So first of all, it has to be done right. And I think with the credit crunch we've seen, I mean, you don't want to just put something substandard. Whatever is put out there is going to be a significant economic engine for the region. I think the Cardinals are interested in doing that. We've been very close to a couple of very exciting deals. We're working on one now. The bottom line is I think that in the coming years you're going to see that be a place that not just looks pretty, but also adds jobs and more sustenance to the inner part of this city.
Governor, economically, what do the Cardinals mean to the economic system here, the state of Missouri, and in particular the city of St. Louis?
Well, three things. First of all, I mean, just as a business, they're a significant business, bringing 3.2 million people to this beautiful park. People from all across America watching and listening here. Second, it's a community pride thing. I mean, the bottom line is we've got the best team in the world and the best fans in the world. And the third thing is that it really lets us brand these Midwest values. I mean, just this week we closed on a deal for $55 million investment by DuPont Pioneer and the Boot Heel. IBM's moving 800 jobs to Columbia, Missouri. They came because of the values of the heartland, and the Cardinals are a big part of that.
3-1 popped up. Pujols is over. And you being such a baseball fan, nice play made there by the gentleman in the front row right behind the dugout. Have you had a chance to visit with Albert Pujols? And if so, what have you said? Have you said, Albert, you know, this pending contract, you know, I'm the governor, I'd like to have a little say on this?
Well, we got Anderson continued at the University of Missouri, and we kept him from going to being an Oregon Duck this year. So I took care of the state side. As far as Albert, I did have a chance to talk to him last year around the All-Star game, a bunch of festivities. I mean, I think that the people that are here, the 3.2 million fans that support the Cardinals, make sure there's a budget that can pay his value. And I think, you know, he just wants what for his family, and he's been so generous with his resources anyway. This is a guy that invests a lot back in the community. I don't know that I can make a big difference, but I can lobby really hard.
Spoken like a true politician. I like that.
The state coaches, I can do a little bit there. I'm proud that with Anderson and Pinkel that I think we've got the University of Missouri program headed strongly in the right direction. And I would say to folks watching Missouri basketball, this recruiting class is awesome.
Oh, it's great. 2 outs and runner at first. Jay Nixon with us. And since you mentioned the University of Missouri and you have roots there, a lot of talk about expansion to the Big Ten, possibly. How do you feel about that?
Well, I think you've got to listen if they talk. I mean, academically, it's a great, I think Brady, the chancellor, Deaton, would really want to look at it for that, for the consortiums. And on the athletic side, I mean, the Big 12 has paid a lot of money to the Texas and the Southern schools, and if we need to have parity between the North and the South schools. But there's going to be a lot of movement in college football. But if other conferences are offering serious things, we ought to look at them. We shouldn't just turn our backs to good offers.
Here's Cody Ross, 1 ball, 1 strike, and a runner at first. And before I let you go, final question. Actually, I got 2 more. All-Star game, what did it mean to have that here in the city, and what did it mean economically?
Well, to me, I mean, it meant a lot economically, number one. But when I was over in Afghanistan and Iraq with the troops, it's what they were talking about. I mean, wherever they were from, they were talking about the red carpet that was laid down for the players and how great the stadium looked and how St. Louis was the best baseball town in America. I mean, that meant, you know, you can talk about the dollars, but the bottom line is when soldiers that are standing up for us are talking about St. Louis all across Afghanistan and Iraq when they see the governor, it's a good thing for the region.
And finally, your prediction for the Cardinals this year?
I mean, that's why I haven't been to many games early, because both in the playoffs and the World Series, I'm going to be spending a lot of time here. So I'm going to get my 6 or 8 games this year. I want those to be all the way well into October. This is a team with Wainwright and Carpenter as a 1 and 2. They're as good as any. This Garcia, the pitcher tonight, I mean, for a young kid, unbelievable. You know, I think that. I think you're looking at a team that's going to be representing the National League in the World Series.
So I like it. Now you're going to backload your tickets.
Yeah,
your time
you
here.
got to get a certain quantity of time here. You want to make sure you're here. And you can't plan for 7 games because we'll probably end up getting somebody like the Yankees. It won't last 7. But you just want to make sure that as the season builds, you get a chance to be around this great organization.
Well, Governor, I know you're busy. We'll let you go. We always love having you up here.
Thanks, my friend.
Thank you. That's Jay Nixon. And that's a walk to Cody Ross. Next Family Sunday is May 23rd. The Cardinals will host the Angels, and all fans purchasing a regular price terrace or pavilion reserved seat will receive a free Hunter hot dog and Coke with the price of your ticket. Plus, all kids will get a free Six Flags ticket. So, it's loaded this Sunday. Family Sunday this weekend against the Angels. Here's Ronnie Paulino, stung the ball his first time, and the Cardinals had Skip Schumacher near the bag at second. The rain has picked up a little bit here at Busch Stadium. Nice to have the Governor visit with us. And Pujols is way off the line at first base. Two outs and 2 on. And Paulino chops one to Freeze. Out at second. And again, Garcia pitching out of trouble. No score midway through 3. Fan cam and see who's enjoying the game. Budweiser, it's what we do. Alva's back with us. And we move to the bottom of the 3rd. There's no score.
Sure took your time.
Well, I had the Governor in here. I'm not going to.
Well, yeah, I mean,
run the Governor
the
out
First
here.
Lady and I, we solved some of the state problems. And
oh, I can only imagine you having that conversation.
She's a very nice lady.
Very nice lady. I know you're very passionate about your politics, Al. We'll leave it at that.
First met Governor Nixon. I think what if he was the Attorney General or something like that. Marty Henn introduced me to him many years ago.
It's out in front of the plate, but foul. We've seen now that Jaime Garcia a couple times, actually 3 different times tonight, pitching with runners on and yet pitching out of trouble.
Marlins have stranded 7 already.
And that's pulled foul.
Rain getting a little harder.
Lopez fly to center first time up. I haven't looked, Al, if the Cardinals and Marlins have a mutual day off, if they would not be able to get tomorrow's game in. That's well hit. Maven on the move, and with his great speed makes the catch. You can follow the Cardinals on your iPhone, iPod Touch, BlackBerry, Android phone, MLB.com at Bat 2010. It features play-by-play, video highlights, live audio broadcasts. For more information, visit Cardinals.com today.
I have not looked. I'm sure they could find one, but obviously it would be have to rearrange a trip.
You made a great point. The fact is you have these 2-game series, and you really run the risk of putting yourself in a corner because there's no time in between, and when are you going to make that up?
Sure. And with the bad forecast for tomorrow and Friday, a lot of people thought this rain wouldn't hit until late tonight. And now if it starts hitting this early, hopefully you can get this game underway. But, it could be a long, long afternoon tomorrow. But we tell you to come to the ballpark and entertain us.
Pause, silence after that comment. 1-2 pitch. And Ludwig strikes out. Sanchez has struck out 3. Don't miss the Eagles at Busch Stadium on Thursday, June 24th. Field seats available for $99, 4 packs for $255, 6 packs for $198. All fees included in ticket prices. One ball, one strike on Holiday.
First time you can see that rain. I was going to say the first time you see it, but that's the super slow-mo camera that pick up those raindrops.
Holiday, base hit into left center. 2 for 2.
Lifts that leg up, generates his starting point, brings it back down, and hands it the hitting position. He's starting to feel his oats hitting in front of Albert. Albert doesn't mind. He's got a man on when he comes up to the plate.
So 2 outs and a runner at first. By the way, May 24th, June 21st to have mutual off days between these two. September 2nd and the 20th as well.
But it would have to be, they have to alter a trip or come back in town to make a rain out up.
Pujols pops it up. Hanley Ramirez under it. Makes the catch. Jim Hayes will join us when we come back. Marlins and Cardinals are Schnook's this date in baseball history. 1962, Stan the Man collects his 3,431st career hit, becoming the NL's all-time hits leader. He passed Honus Wagner. Stan the Man in our Schnook's this date in baseball history. I have not checked, Al, over the last couple of weeks, but how is Stan feeling? Always like to give our viewers an update.
I haven't talked to Dick Sitzman for a little bit, but last time I saw him, Stan doing much better, and we hope that continues.
Here's Cameron Maben, center fielder for the Marlins. The check swing did not go. Jim Hayes is with us, and Jim, let's start the conversation out with good defense, and we began our telecast talking about Ryan Ludwig and what he's done defensively in right. And Tony La Russa saying the other day that if he continues to play as well as he has, potentially you're looking at a Gold Glover. There's a nice play by Freese.
Ludwig had that diving catch late in the game the other night. And Ludwig says he works very hard defensively. He got the label, he says, as a below-average defensive player while he was with the Indians organization, based on injuries.
Right, it was telling me that too.
And now he takes a lot of pride in playing good defense. He goes over Dave Duncan's scouting reports to see what the hitters want to do. And he says the key is focusing and getting a good jump. And he does that and more.
Here's Sanchez, who walked and then was left stranded back in the second. And we've seen Ludwig not only play very well in right, but he gives Tony La Russa some flexibility, and he can play in center field as well.
He was a center fielder when he was much younger. Now he's playing right field, but we see him make plays to his left, to his right, and he's extremely good coming in. He's made a few diving catches that way.
Slowly hit, tough play. Garcia throws, and out! Somehow Pujols was able to stay with it and make the play.
Freddie Garcia out to talk about it, but how about the hustle by Freddie Gonzalez's pitcher running down the first base line? Greg Gibson is our first base umpire. You get a little tangled up, then he fires a seed down there, and the ball comes in on Albert. Get a better look here, make sure he's on the bag. If he's on the bag, he's out, but it looked like he came off the bag, didn't it?
I thought he was safe.
Because he was off the bag.
Correct.
I like the Gibson's call.
Regardless, though, how about Pujols and the hands to make that play in the short hop?
Did he catch? That was another aspect. Did he catch in the glove or catch it in the palm of the hand?
It's a little of each.
Yeah, I thought so too.
And he almost kept his foot on the bag.
Almost. Hey, it's raining. Come on.
Speed it up, right, Al? There's Coughlin, who is 1 for 2. He singled and also struck out.
Well, I get the chance. I'd like to say congratulations to our producer, Tim Trokey, who's getting married on Saturday. Congratulations to Tim and his fiancée, Angela.
Did you get the invite, Al?
No.
I didn't either, but
I was supposed to hand deliver yours. I was supposed to hand deliver yours. When I grabbed some of your ice cream, Dan, I must have left it somewhere else.
The good folks at Ted Drew's with the governor here providing ice cream. And so we appreciate that.
Not intended for me. Oops.
But we, on a serious note, congratulate Tim and his fiancée. Tim is one of the guys that really works hard behind the scenes, and congratulations to him. So that's this Saturday.
This Saturday.
1-2 the count with 2 outs, and Chris Coughlin the hitter. 2-2. We've seen Garcia, Al, get a lot of 2 strikes, 2 strike counts on these hitters, but yet hasn't been able to put them away. 2-2. That time he does. 5 strikeouts for Garcia. And there's no score to move to the bottom of the 4th. guarantee how many National League franchises have not had a Rookie of the Year since 1993. Mets, Nationals, Stros, Padres, Diamondbacks, and Giants. A couple of years ago, night like tonight, we saw Albert Pujols on a pop-up go down near that circle right there, that on-deck circle, and slip. That is rubber, and you can see the water dripping off it. Landed right on his back. So now when it gets wet like it is right now, smart move, they'll remove those on-deck circles. I'm not sure I've ever seen a player actually stand on those. They put their bats there
because they're slippery
and tarp. But even on the hot, dry nights.
Right.
Now, Jim Hayes has been kind enough to stay with us for the bottom of this inning.
You're welcome.
And Skip Schumacher, we saw last night, had a rough night defensively, a couple of errors. And such a stand-up guy that, you know, he's the kind of guy that will meet with the media and talk about it. By the way, we'll get to that in a moment. Cardinals cap provided by U.S. Cellular, available to 25,000 fans on Saturday, June 5th. And get your tickets at Cardinals.com. But, you know, he was willing to address that situation, Jim.
Yeah, he's a guy who anguishes over things that don't go right. He feels he should come through for his teammates. Tony La Russa says he's a conscientious teammate. But Skip said, I'd be lying to you if this isn't a difficult stretch for me. But what I have to do is keep working. That's how I got to the big leagues. That's how I stayed in the big leagues. And Tony La Russa said of Skip Schumacher, he's too mentally tough not to bounce back quickly. He's had a tough play tonight and 4 errors over his last couple of games, and that is not like Skip Schumacher, who made a very nice transition from everyday outfielder to everyday second baseman.
Al, as you well know, it's hard to say, well, I'm just going to forget about it and move on, but truly that's what you try to do.
You have to do it. If you just dwelled on every little negative or some time you didn't go through, we talked about this game is dealing with failure.
Foul territory and the catch made. Gabby Sanchez. And there's 2 outs.
On the positive side for Skip, he's carrying an 8-game hitting streak. He told me in his own words now, the lightest 8-game hitting streak I've ever had. But he says he's been feeling comfortable at the plate for quite some time, and he feels like it's a matter of time before his average is back to where it should be, around 300.
Now, one of the stories you really wanted to bring up was Jason LaRue, and apparently a new look for the backup catcher of the Cardinals.
He's got the wild head of hair. We've all seen it, right? And today, he had a normal crew cut type look. And I said, what's the reason for that? And he said, once a year, he cuts his hair.
Whether he needs to or not.
And
so
he had it done. And he had it done at the Salon de Loche. Kyle Lowe's cut his hair.
Now, he is the team barber, right? He's kind of the de facto team barber.
And I don't want to tell tales here, but I think...
But you will.
I think I might have seen some gel in Jason LaRue's hair. And I said, is that gel? And he said, I don't know what they did in there. He had no knowledge if there was gel.
And that's a strikeout of Molina. That's 5 tonight for Sanchez, and we move to the 5th. No score. rocks that are millions of years old and stand end to end like a train of red circus elephants. Planning a picnic? Great. Picnic sites are also available. All you have to do is visit mo.com and start planning your next Missouri getaway. Visit mo.com. Jaime Garcia back to work for the Cardinals. Top of the fifth rolls in here at Busch Stadium.
Had his easiest inning last frame, so let's see if he can't wear himself down a little bit to where he can be a little more efficient. 78 pitches through 4 innings, that's not like him.
Garcia with 5 strikeouts prior to last inning, 6 total. Picked up the strikeout of Coughlin. And we're underway here in the 5th. If anybody should be used to playing in the rain, it should be the Marlins. A team that seems like night in and night out will have a rain delay.
And I never played in the Florida State League, but they said, 1, you have to have a great tarp, and 2 is if you're a player, you're not going to have very much batting practice.
A lazy fly ball off the bat of Gabby Sanchez to the center fielder, Colby Rasmus.
It's through the spring and summer. It rains every late afternoon.
And the new Marlins ballpark will open in 2012.
Still not sure if the old Orange Bowl site is not going to be much of an improvement. A new ballpark, but still a dangerous neighborhood.
It's hammered out to left. Holiday makes the catch. The time will tell. We'll see how it all plays out once we get there.
Well, there's just nothing around there, for you to go before or after the game.
That's a real big problem that they have right now. There's nothing around that football stadium, and it is a football stadium that they're playing baseball in. Surrounding neighborhoods and whatnot. Very small crowds. And as a player, we've talked to a number of the Marlins. So you can't worry about those crowds. Coming to a situation like St. Louis, we love it, but we're at home. We appreciate the fans that do come out, but you can't sit there and worry about it. So again, it'll be the rest of this year and next year at their current stadium, and then moving into the brand new Marlins ballpark.
Has to have a retractable dome in South Florida. I'm sorry about all the rain, but
that's off the glove of David Freese and a fair ball over in that sidewall. And Jorge Cantu will wind up at second base.
David off the line, ball hit hard, tries to backhand it, comes up on him and off the glove. So comes up, hits right off the little finger on the glove.
And Cantu, Al, is given a double. So 2-out double. And here's Uggla. 2 outs and a runner at second base.
And you could make a case that 3 of the 4 hits allowed by Garcia tonight should have been ruled errors. I mean, they would be tough, all 3 of them, but they were all in the infield.
In the dirt. 2 balls, no strikes. I mentioned that pitch count very high, 88 for Garcia.
still has not allowed a run here at home this season. Now you're talking about 18 2/3 innings. With only 9 hits allowed. Important, 2 outs to get this man here.
A 3-0 pitch. Speed pitch at 71.
Curveball.
Take a look at this Fox Tracks presented by Dodge.
Now there's a hitter having a little discipline. Probably had the green light, but you're not going to look for that slow breaking ball on a 3-0 pitch. So you just, don't swing on the pitch you're looking for.
Ugla has walked and struck out. Walks again. With the walks and the strikeouts, that'll get your pitch count a little bit higher. Make sure to visit Bush Bash prior to every Friday home game, and this Friday it's Brian Jordan, former Cardinal. And for specific details and future player appearances, please visit Cardinals.com, click on promotions, and Brian actually will join us in the 3rd inning on Friday night. Looking forward to that. And Al is concerned about Jim Hayes' appearance on Friday night. We'll have to push him back to the 4th.
Okay, but we do get Jim.
Oh, yeah.
All right, then I feel better.
He will be here. Two outs, 2 on. Marlins through 4 innings have stranded 7. Can Garcia make it 9 through 5?
Dan, have you given an update on that Atlanta-Cincinnati score lately?
We're in the 9th, and it's 4-3 Braves.
It was 4-0.
It just peaked up there, and it just moved to the 9th. And when I saw it, it was in the 8th, and I didn't want to upset you. You told me not to say anything until the 9th. So it's officially in the 9th, and it's 4-3.
Oh, 4-4.
Take a look at this last pitch. This may have been a strike.
Well, but sometimes when your catcher's set up inside, the umpire's thinking that, okay, if you miss that target all the way across, even if it's in the strike zone, you don't get credit for it.
2-2 to Cody Ross. Hit sharply to Freeze again. Force play at second. Send that a bunch tonight. No score. These two teams here at Busch Stadium. Budweiser, what's on tap? Ruby Parker there. Congratulations. Recent high school graduate, Ruby Parker, joining baseball tonight.
And we're going to see something that hadn't happened all season long. To Jaime Garcia. He will fail to go 6 innings and get a quality start as Mather's going to pinch hit. All 7 of his previous starts have been quality, 6 or more, less than 2 runs. Shutout innings, but that pitch count got a little too high.
This is well hit opposite field. And the catch is made by Coghlan. A little surprised, though, they didn't stretch him out for at least one more.
No. This time I thought that, his last time out he got well over 100. I think Tony kind of felt like he wasn't as sharp here tonight. Just maybe, he kept on dodging a bullet. And they pitched well. They've stranded 9 runners tonight, the Marlins. So I really did kind of think that this was a possibility.
So my question then, to follow up on that, with a high pitch count for Garcia, we saw Carpenter being stretched out last night. How do you think Tony will handle his next start?
I think you go according to how he's throwing, but in the back of your mind you may say, okay, we'll not push him as far. But I think there still is a little difference with Jaime coming. Last year he had the Tommy John surgery, recovered from that. And he's done so well this year. This is the first time they really guarded and protected him a little bit.
I think you make a great point, especially coming off the surgery. Don't need to stretch it.
Yeah. I mean, he's been so good that, he got his 6+ innings in, without really laboring or ever taxing himself. And, once again, didn't have his best stuff, but they can't score against him.
Remember, Joe Mather had that double that turned out to be the final play of the game over the weekend against Cincinnati. He was a pinch hitter, and Schumacher tried to score and was thrown out at the plate. A perfectly executed relay by the Reds.
And we've gotten some very interesting letters about the slide at home plate, all kinds of things, but we knew Mather did his job. I asked him how he feel, and he said he was flying around those bases, feeling pretty good about himself, and then you kind of, he gets thrown out, the game's over in a dramatic fashion. You're still happy with what you did, but it's a little disappointing.
Mather strikes out. During our telecast tomorrow on FoxSportsMidwest.com, you can have a live chat with our announcers upstairs. Get in-depth analysis of the game in a new way. Cardinals live chat. All you have to do is head to FoxSportsMidwest.com. Once again, we'll have our telecast on July 2nd. This one's for you. We'll be talking to some of the soldiers in Afghanistan. You can find out more about that at the website. Also some videos, behind-the-scene videos at FoxSportsMidwest.com of the players.
Cardinals also have a big weekend coming up, and it's August 21st when the Giants are in town, as they've expanded their military day, not just from Fort Leonard Wood, but really bringing in Scott Air Force Base and all the military branches. Have a lot of ceremonies, and kind of a fun weekend that we'll tell you more about as that progresses.
Here's a 1-1 pitch with 2 outs.
Foxworth will come in and be the second Cardinal pitcher. Can Felipe do what he did yesterday? Hit a home run and give Jaime a chance to pick up his 5th win.
2 outs, nobody on, and a 2-1 pitch to Lopez. 3-1.
Pretty good pitch there.
And a walk. So with 2 outs, a walk to Felipe Lopez. It is interesting when you watch Jaime Garcia and how he carries himself anymore. It's like you don't even think he's a rookie. You forget.
No, you're absolutely right. And as I said, the way he goes about his business, you really don't see. Obviously, he's going to lose some games. He's going to hit a spell where somebody's going to really jump him, but you think that's going to be the abnormal. He just looks very comfortable the way he pitches and goes about his business.
This little stretch that Ludwig is in right now, this might be the most comfortable we've seen him in the last 7 to 10 days, all year.
Such a streaky hitter. And really on paper, he's not going through one of his patent streaks, but he's hitting the ball hard.
I mean, take into account his first 2 plate appearances last night. He had a screamer at third, then he lined out to right, and then he hit the home run.
Yeah, he said, I hit those balls as good as I can hit them. They're just right at somebody, and then he learned the trick, hit them in the seats.
0-2 pitch.
Looking on as his night is through, but Ludwig can make it a lot more enjoyable for him watching the final innings.
Two balls, 2 strikes. You saw that big gap in the left center. Quick move that time, and Lopez in there.
Maben's got that great speed out in center field. Coughlin not bad, but surface is wet too. So getting to a ball, trying to stop under control, and then picking up a wet baseball and throwing it back in. I'm not sure where it's going to go either.
Lopez is running. They're thrown down to second. He is in there. And a good jump. Stolen base for Felipe Lopez.
Paulino came in tonight throwing out 50% of would-be base stealers. So he gets a breaking ball, high throw, and that allows Felipe to get underneath the tag. Good work there with our camera and slow-mo action.
Spoiled by Ludwig.
Springfield, Aaron Miles tonight has 3 hits and 3 RBIs. Aaron's gotten a hit in every game that he's participated in. Tyler Green the other day, his first game back, had a big offensive game, and Scalzo, little infielder at Memphis, playing well.
Popped up. Will they get out of play? It will.
It's amazing. Our outstanding director, producer Mike Helling, his favorite player is Ronnie Paulino, and he was very concerned when Ronnie went over there, and thankful that the on-deck circle wasn't there, so Mike would have been mortified if Ronnie would have slipped, hurt himself.
3-2 pitch. Shallow right. And the catch made. Cody Ross. Garcia's night is through. There's no score. We head to the 6th. the 6th. And let's take a look at our pitch-by-pitch feature presented by Chevrolet.
Down to the fastball. Comes back with another one. And he starts throwing the slider. Breaking ball. And the breaking ball. Steal up there. Breaking ball. It fouls it off. Fastball pops it up. Gets out of play. Fastball. And it'll pop up out to right field. Ludwig 0 for 3 tonight. And Blake Hawksworth is our Chevy call to the bullpen. He'll take over here in the 6th inning. Blake got to the big leagues last year. He's appearing in the 14th game. He's lost one. Victimized one of those walk-off home runs. 3 holes, good ERA, 2.35, and needs a little work.
It's going to be one of those situations where with Hawksworth you could extend him at least a couple of innings.
And that's one of the nice things about him. He has done that season high 2 innings back on May the 9th and also April 11th.
And a foul ball. And we're talking about Cincinnati, Al, and here they are in the 9th inning. Last inning of a game again, and they come back to tie it up. You start playing like that, you really believe, hey, we're a pretty good team.
Well, we're talking about it, you know, when teams go to postseason, they have all those magical moments. They've had more than a year's worth here in the first 6 weeks. But we all know there's a lot of season left, and they are kind of an exciting team and a no-quit team.
Washington defeated the Mets 5-3 tonight.
Washington Ball Club, they pretty much beat themselves in the 2 games with the Cardinals.
They really did.
And, you know, they did. They beat themselves, and you're reminded more games are lost than they are won.
2-2 on Ronnie Paulino.
Well, that's why you always want to play good fundamental baseball, and if you do that more times than not, you're gonna come out the winner.
And Paulino rips it into left. It's one of those things that just does not make sense, but Ronnie Paulino here at Busch Stadium is hitting close to 400 in his career. He came in at 388.
Pitch is up in the middle of the plate. Wasn't the desired location. And some players become very confident when they walk into a ballpark. They say they really see the ball well here, and it just gives them that extra confidence.
And now it's Maben. He was part of the Miguel Cabrera deal and Dontrell Willis.
Very talented youngster. Still trying to come into his own, but very tough to double up.
And a liner, base hit into center. First 2 have reached. Take a look at our Fox Tracks presented by Dodge. Out to visit Molina. So first and second. And the pitcher spot is up. Out to visit Tony La Russa, not Dave Duncan, but the Cardinals manager.
Well, he has something to say, and it also you would think that maybe go over the infielders, the defensive alignment on a bunt play. There's no one warming up, so want a message to his pitcher, and then he'll instruct the infielder in how they want to play this defensively.
Pat Burrell was released by Tampa Bay and cleared the waivers, and now he's a free agent. Longtime Phil signed as a free agent. Nobody out, runners at first and second.
Kind of went down quick, didn't he? Pat Burrell.
Big time. Came out of college. He was known as Pat the Bat. University of Miami.
Albert fearless on bunt plays. We had a situation last night where Carpenter almost forgot his assignment. You know, when you watch how aggressive Albert is coming down, Albert will take almost everything from the first base side and even in front of the mound, where the pitcher will have to take everything down the third base line. Well, we always talk about in this situation, the pitcher wants to bunt it hard enough to get by the pitcher so that third baseman has to come in. And remember last night the ball wasn't hit hard enough and Carpenter almost came straight in. Freeze went back to the bag to try and get the lead runner. Carpenter did recover quick enough to get the batter out at first.
3-0 on Sanchez, who has already walked.
But ideally you want to get the lead runner out of third, get the force out of third, but now they've fallen behind 3-0. I was going to say, I mean, sure he was told don't make any effort, just try and sell it as going to be a ball, but now it's a 3-1 count. Sanchez swing the bat a little bit too.
Two strikes, 3-2.
His bunting form can only one sacrifice this year to 11 in his career, but now Blake has battled back, had a chance to foil the bunt attempt.
And that's taken low.
Oh, I think Molina wanted that as a strike.
Bases loaded.
Oh, a little low. Down and away.
Nobody out with the bases loaded.
And it happens when times the team's trying to give you an out and you can't take it. But now in a 0-0 game, to bring up the bases loaded, the leadoff hitter and nobody out, you really have to pitch your way out of it. Nobody warming up.
Coughlin is 1 for 3. Couple of strikeouts tonight. No score here in the 6th. And this is hammered out to deep left. Holiday on the move, and he'll make the catch. Runner from third will tag up to make it 1-0, but Maben did not tag up from second to third. And with his speed, he easily could have done that.
Dan, he was almost at third base as he advanced almost to third base on the line drive. Out of way, but that's a ball up that kind of gets a sacrifice fly. Holiday over the shoulder, gets it back in. Maben was about 5 feet from third base at that point.
1 out, runners at first and second. You wonder if that's the kind of play that comes back to haunt the Marlins. You have a runner at third instead, runner at second with that 1 out.
Not only that, but prior to this inning, they've stranded 9 runners. They're really not getting that big blow. As well as Sanchez's pitching, you'd like to think that 1 run isn't going to be enough.
Gabby Sanchez, 1 ball, 1 strike. 1 out, runners at first and second. Some sad news from Fancy Farm, Kentucky. Big Cardinal fan Benny Wilson passed away this past week. Greg Higdon, our buddy, was passing that along, and our condolences to the Wilson family in the passing of Benny Wilson. There's a broken bat. Right center. Colby's got it. Maben will tag up. A strong throw into third.
Boy, isn't that nice to say about Colby, a strong throw?
Yes.
But there's what you're talking about. If he would have tagged up on the previous sack fly, that, you know, they'd be up 2-0.
It's one of the better throws we've seen him make.
Absolutely. And you know, we've been critical of his throwing, so when he does make a strong throw, we want to point it out.
Two outs, and here's Ramirez with runners at first and third. He lined out to left. He has singled a couple of times in the first and third.
You kind of get the feeling as you see Pujols not holding the runner on, still kind of keep him there. You get Ramirez out here, you can win the game. Well, the magic for the Reds does not hold true.
Thank goodness. Atlanta gets him 5-4. So the Cardinals can win this ball game tonight, leapfrog in front of Cincinnati, and they lead the division by a half game.
I mean, it's way, way too early to really worry about that. But anytime you climb back into first base, you take it, or first place, you take it. It's where you are at the end of the season. And maybe a little turnaround as the Reds got beat by a last at bat, run in the bottom of the ninth.
Here's Ramirez now with his average at 300, the batting champion from a year ago.
You get what I'm talking about? If you can get him out,
oh yeah,
and you had the bases loaded, nobody out, and only one run scores, you get a feeling you come back in and you win this game. As good a hitter as Ramirez is this year with 2 outs and runners in scoring position, a 167 average, 3 for 18.
First year with the Marlins, he had 292, and then every other year after that, it's been above 300. Next season, he was at 332, and some believe he could have been the MVP that year. 08, he was at 301, and then last year, batting champion at 342 with 24 homers, and he drove in 106 playing shortstop.
And look at this double play combination of Ugla and Ramirez. They've hit more home runs than any other National League pair.
3-2.
Looked like it was a bit up and away.
And you get the feeling, Al, big pitch right here.
Big pitch.
Be pitch number 26 for Hawksworth, so you wonder about if he gets out of this inning, how long can you go with him? Just turning into a long first inning of work.
You look at it the other way and say he's thrown 26. He's not available for a day or so go, let him go.
3-2 pitch.
See if the runner at first leaves too soon, so that will fake to third, be ready to throw to first.
Runner from first off with a pitch. 3-2, chopped up the middle. Diving stop by Schumacher, no play, and it's 2-0.
There, right up the tip of the glove, held on to it, but boy, the runner from first going to third, but they do get their second run.
And now it's first and second. Jorge Cantu in the check swing. He went for strike one. Cantu is 2 for 3. It's a single. That was back in the first. He struck out in the third and doubled in the fifth. Oh, 2. Cardinals looking ahead will have Holiday, Pujols, and Kobe Rasmus coming up in their half of the sixth.
It's part of the equation. If you could have held it to 1 run, and then you had that momentum coming and those big bats.
Freeze backs up. He'll step on the bag of force play at third. Midway through 6, Marlins strike first. It's 2-0. Equipment, powerful, lightweight, dependable, versatile. Yard care solutions. Start at steeldealers.com. By Lumiere Casino. Your next home could be on the house. River City Casino and Lumiere Place Casino and Hotels is giving away $250,000 a home, plus 18-room makeovers now through July 2nd. Visit rivercity.com for details. And by AT&T, find out what's possible with the nation's fastest 3G network. AT&T, rethink possible. And the Ramirez was the story coming into play tonight. And at the plate, Al, so far so good. And you might remember he had an issue at the end of last year with one of his teammates. They had a discussion about it, and then he went on a tear. So you wonder if this is the beginning of another one of those Hanley Ramirez tears.
He's capable of doing that. You know, he's that talented of a player, and when he's especially motivated, maybe wanting to prove to people that, you know, I'm at a different elite class. Well, that's true, but still you have to be a good teammate.
1 ball, 1 strike on Matt Holliday.
And I think he'll be a better ball player from what Freddie Gonzalez did.
I think most people are in agreement with what Freddie Gonzalez did. I've yet to hear anybody, including people on his own team, saying that that was the wrong thing to do.
And I don't know all the facts, but I understand Wes Helms, who really has a leadership role as an elder statesman and, you know, a veteran player, to kind of be a bridge between management and the coaching staff and the players. And he kind of talked to Hanley and kind of told him the facts of life too.
Strikeout of Holiday. Sunday, June 6th, pick up a pet bowl for your furry friend. Compliments of Nestle Purina. They're available to 25,000 pet lovers ages 16 and older. Get yours by purchasing tickets at Cardinals.com. Pujols 1 for 2. That's a fair ball to third. Cantu over to first, 2 away. And right now you have to say that Anibal Sanchez is starting to really settle in. He looks good. Strikeouts have been piling up. For the most part, he has controlled the middle of this lineup, too.
Struck out 7. He's only walked one man, and the Cardinals' last base hit was back in the 3rd. Kind of a familiar tone, isn't it?
Yes, sir.
Rasmus, pair of strikeouts. Fouled off his foot.
Strikeout of Colby, and we are through 6. Marlins lead it 2-0. Ball. Al, you've never been guilty of B. Have you ever slept during a game?
No.
And what was the other one? Not knowing how many outs?
Yes.
You don't want to answer that?
Only as a broadcaster.
That is well hit. And Ugla connects with a home run. That was a long home run. And Hawksworth has come in and given up 3 runs.
11th home run. Amongst the league leaders with home runs for Ugla.
So first pitch of the 7th, and goodbye. Hardy's prime cut of the game.
Just trying to get ahead, and that ball ends up in the seats.
Good breaking ball by Hawksworth to Cody Ross.
With the Cardinals and Marlins sharing the Jupiter Spring Training site, these clubs know each other very well, and Sure, there's a lot of friendships between both teams, but young team like the Marlins, they'd like to show the class of the league what they can do.
Shallow left. Holiday wants it. One away. This season, it's easier than ever to find the seats you want or sell tickets to the games you can't make on StubHub, the official fan-to-fan ticket marketplace of the Cardinals. You'll find great seats, great service on StubHub all season. So head to StubHub.com and choose your seats today. Ronnie Paulino, one out, nobody on.
And how about Tampa Bay? You know, he talked about how well they're playing, and now they go to Yankee Stadium. Didn't phase them tonight. Bottom of the 8th inning, they're leading 10-2.
They lead by 3 games over the Yankees. Colby under it, 2 outs. You think about Ugla, that's your second baseman with 11 home runs.
Izzy hit a home run in the top of the 9th inning to tie that game for Cincinnati, and then Hayward got the game-winning base hit in the bottom of the 9th to win it for Atlanta.
Now, we started our telecast talking about Freese and Garcia, and you would think that right now they'd be in that conversation for Rookie of the Year, and it's early, obviously, but from a national perspective, it seems like Jason Hayward would be the runaway winner because that's all you hear about.
I think he was almost anointed the winner before the season started, and he does lead all rookies in RBIs. He's got at least 29. Freese has 24 to be in second place. He sat on 28 for a long time prior to tonight.
0-2 is hit out to deep left. Holiday back, he'll look up, and that's gone. Into the bullpen. On an 0-2 pitch, Cameron Maybin. 4-0, Florida.
This is location on a breaking ball, supposed to be down and away. Use it down and in, and it used to be a place where pitchers were mortified to throw, and now it seems like its hitting has changed a little bit. That is an area where it's called frequently, but that was a mislocation.
This is hit out to deep right. Ludwig back to make the catch. Time to stretch. 10 hits tonight for Florida and a 4-run lead. Long drive inning sweepstakes. If the Cardinals hit a home run, Marvin Dorsey qualifies for the Hyundai Sonata drawing in September. To register, visit Suntrip Hyundai or St. Louis area Hyundai dealer. It starts with David Freese, bottom of the 7th. The Cardinals with only 4 base hits tonight, and they trail by 4 runs. And out hit in this game 10-4. Florida with a 4-run lead, and they've even left 11 men on. It just seems like a game they've dominated.
The last couple innings, it seems like they really just ahead by 10-0. Only through 5 innings, this was a 0-0 game, but very lopsided, as you mentioned. They've got multiple runs the last 2 frames. Cardinals, their last base hit was in the 3rd. Their last base runner was a walk in the 5th.
Freeze, fly ball, right field. And Sanchez is just cruising along.
101 pitches. Probably his last inning of work, and see some activity in their bullpen for the first time. Boggs is throwing in the Cardinal bullpen.
A 1 pitch to Molina. One ball, 1 strike.
Baden Hop and Pinto, righty and lefty, are throwing for the Marlins.
$40,766 the crowd tonight. 1-2 pitch to Molina.
Gotti has one of the 4 Cardinal hits. Pujols has 1, and Holiday 2. Sanchez has been in control. First inning was the only inning he's allowed multiple base runners.
2-2. Yadier with a single and a strikeout. 1 for 2 tonight. Gap into left center as they shade him to the opposite field. 2-2 pitch. Another fly ball out. 2 away.
Sanchez has retired the leadoff man every inning. It's a good way to have a low-scoring game, if not a shutout.
Skip 0 for 2. Average of 233. He's flied out and also grounded out. Cardinals have Wainwright going tomorrow against Nate Robertson. Robertson 4-3. Wainwright 5-2, coming off a loss at Cincinnati. It was a game in which Wainwright talked about the ineffectiveness of his curveball on Saturday night. Nick Stabino on deck.
Go out there, you make 30-plus starts. You're gonna have some games where you just don't feel like you have any of your pitches. Some days it'll show, and other days you can kind of fake your way through it and minimize the damage. Go out there and still be effective.
previous high for Sanchez was 103, and this is pitch number 112. So career high with every pitch tonight. So pretty efficient no-hitter that he had.
Back in the first, like we said, had 2 base runners. They both came with 2 outs. That's the only inning he's had multiple runners.
And a walk to Skip.
It's his second walk.
Nick Stabenow will be the pinch hitter with 2 outs and a runner at first.
Stabenow has done a good job. He's had the most opportunities pinch hitting for the Cardinals this year, and he had his 7-game hitting streak snapped on Saturday night. Team high 17 pinch hits with 6 hits and 2 pinch hit home runs already.
Two outs, runner at first, the 1-0. It's been an effective pitch tonight, that little breaking ball.
Yep.
To the right-handers on the outside portion of the plate.
A good location with it.
Spoiled by Stabenow.
You kind of go down and get that fastball down and away on the black. Kind of make you reach for it. Another one spoils it. Well, it's up a little bit, but see him reaching for it, trying to get a piece of it. When you don't hit, you look flat.
Marlin scored 2 in the 6th and 2 in the top of this inning. 1-2 the count on Stabenow. This is one of those nights the Cardinals have not hit, just 4 base hits. They've stranded 5. Stabenow hits it to third, and he's retired. We played 7, and the Marlins lead it 4-0. 8th here at Busch Stadium. Blake Hawksworth came in and gave up the 4 runs in relief of Jaime Garcia. And it's our call to the bullpen. Young right-hander Mitchell Boggs, presented by Chevrolet.
Last time out, Mitchell was very good. He's only allowed runs in 4 of his 14 appearances, but pitched 2 innings in Cincinnati, striking out 4. Did not allow a hit, did walk a man.
Chris Coughlin will be the hitter as we start playing here in the 8th. 4-0 Marlins. On the air at noon tomorrow. First pitch by Mitchell is taken for a ball, low and away. Now, when you see Mitchell, Boggs, tell me why you like his role in the bullpen and what you see that he possesses that's above average.
The fastball, he can let it out. He can go out there and maximize his velocities, not save anything. As a starter, he was one of those guys that, because of his pitch count, he's a little erratic. You know, he's falling behind most of the time, but at the point of 5 innings, he was through with his pitch count would always be at 100.
Boggs will underhand it to Pujols for the first out.
And Dan, I'm one of those guys, old school, that believe that when you bring up a young kid, you're better off to pitch them in the bullpen a couple years. You can kind of control their success. You can put them in situations where they're going to succeed. They're going to build their confidence. And then 2 or 3 years down the road, then you can think about, you know, if they have enough weapons, then you could put them in the rotation.
Here's Gabby Sanchez with 1 out. Milton Bradley returned to Seattle and in uniform in their starting lineup tonight against Texas. It's been a couple of weeks since he was with the team. We'll see Ichiro and the Mariners come through St. Louis in interleague play. That kind of night for the Cardinals.
David had a little stutter step right before that ball got to him and might have messed up his timing. Kind of a do-or-die swinging bunt. And they score this a fielding error. It's kind of a tough one with some of the other plays here tonight. You know, it was probably one of the more likely ones to be made, but comes down and it just didn't get that glove down low enough. Went off the tip. And the Cardinals' first error tonight.
There's Brian Barton, former Cardinal.
I told Brian, I said, you know, hey, you were a nice guy when you're here. Then you go over there and get right in the middle of a controversy.
Sure, he appreciated that.
He laughed, and Freddie was right there. But
they really like him, Al.
He sprained his ankle the other day, and he had to go in to play for Ramirez. Right. As Ramirez couldn't play, and they said, and he really felt like, you know, he was going to have a couple days off, and he did pretty well yesterday. You know, a couple RBIs, base hit.
Well, even, you know, Freddie even said, he pointed to Brian Barton in explaining the situation with Hanley Ramirez. He said if he's hurt, he needs to come out. He said, but I've got other guys that are hurt that are playing. And then he explained the Barton situation with the sprained ankle. Pitch at 97. 2 outs. Ramirez retired.
Well, Mitchell Boggs, as our starter, would be pitching 93, 94. But in this role, when you pretty much know you're 1 or 2 innings, you can kind of let it fly, and you're always going to feel pretty strong. So you go out there, there's nothing to say for tomorrow or for the next inning. Just let it fly.
Steven Strasburg struck out 6 of the final 8 that he saw. 6 in the third, scoreless innings. At Syracuse tonight, their AAA affiliate for the Washington Nationals. At some point you say, well, we start the clock because this guy is a major leaguer.
And I mean, if this guy is as good as you think you are, you've already invested $15+ million in him. You've given him the largest, you know, contract to a signee. why are you worried about starting the clock? Now, it's one thing if you sit there and you say, well, we want to make sure he's ready. But as you reported, Washington players that were down there at AAA said it's a joke. It's such a mismatch.
Runner from first off with a pitch. Molina to second. He's got another. Martin, he should have known better. Former teammate Yadier Molina gunned him down. And Martin had a pretty good jump, too. Molina just incredible at getting base stealers. So Sanchez out of the game, and now Hensley, right-hander, will take over for the Florida Marlins. Brian Barton will stay in the game. He'll play third base, and Cantu will move from third to first. Those are the changes for the Marlins.
Clay Hensley reinstated from bereavement leave. 5th among all National League relievers with 29 strikeouts. He has been very reliable. He's the one that his younger brother accidentally fell off a cliff, and so he went to the funeral, come back, and with a heavy heart, but he's been very, very good for them.
Here's Felipe Lopez to start things off for the Cardinals. And they are down to their final 6 outs. Outfield is very shallow. 2 balls, no strikes. Twice Felipe is flied out. Walked, stole a base in the 5th. And Molina catches another trying to steal. This time Brian Barton. He's something else. What a weapon he is behind the plate, just controlling the opposition's running game.
Just wonder why anybody even runs off.
Not even close, and a leadoff walk. And Freddie Sanchez can't be happy with that.
Hensley perfect at home. He is 0-1 with a 6 ERA on the road. Saw him first come to the big leagues with San Diego.
Starts to rain very lightly again here at the ballpark. Here's Ludwig. Twice he has flied out. He's also struck out. strike on the inside portion of the plate, 2-1. A 2-1 pitch, up and in. You got to think if you're Freddie Gonzalez watching this, and you've got Holiday and Pujols coming up. Well, we're starting to get that bullpen active.
See the ball just running inside. Like we say, he's been effective for the Marlins. Big strikeout pitcher, but
3-2.
Saw action out of the Padres bullpen back in 05, and the appeared in 3 NLDS games against the Cardinals.
And he walked him. The Cardinals have a little life here in the 8th.
Only because Hensley and the Marlins are allowing him back in. Randy St. Clair, their pitching coach, out to talk to his reliever. No one warming up at this point for the Fish. And as you mentioned, with Holiday and Pujols coming up, that 4-0 lead looks like nothing. Matt is 2 for 3. Got base hits the first 2 times up. Albert 1 for 3.
He is due. Against Hensley, 8 for 22.
And they saw a lot of each other in the National League West.
And that's a strike at the knees. Two on, nobody out.
Breaking ball fools Matt, swings at it wildly and comes up empty. 0-2.
Struck out back in the 6th. Pair of singles tonight. Average at 297.
Pinto and Bardenhop warming up. They were warming up in the last inning. And then Hensley got up to start the inning.
Holiday strikes out.
Off-speed pitch and chases it out of the strike zone. Three for 4 and hit by a pitch. So Cardinals are getting their shots and getting the right guys up.
One out, 2 on for Albert Pujols.
Albert's got to do something here. Got to drive in at least 1, hopefully 2, and trade places. Get himself in scoring position.
Pujols, ground ball. Barden steps on the bag to first. Double play. Threat is through. We head to the 9th. Marlins lead it by 4 runs.
A look at Jaime Garcia's interesting outing and 1/4 of the season played. Ricky Horton will have a Cardinal status report. That and more coming up after the game. For now, it's back to the booth and Dan and Al, guys.
Mitchell Boggs, second inning of work. Thanks, Jim. So here we are, quarterway point of the season. I'll ask Al, what do you think of the Cardinals? If they would lose tonight, they would go to 23-18. They get off to the great start, and lately it's been hit and miss.
I believe if you're around 400, around 500, doesn't really matter where you are in the standings, but at the worst, they could be a half game out of first place. They have legitimate concerns, but I see bigger concerns with most of their opposition. But in my mind, it's very concerning, their inconsistent offense.
And Boggs gets a strikeout. And tonight, a good example with only 4 base hits. I mean, is Sanchez, was he that good tonight? We're only mustering up 4 hits.
I don't want to take anything away from him, but it wasn't that he did anything spectacular, and he struck out 8. You know, he gave up 4 hits. 2 of those came in the first inning. And right now, there's holes. The Cardinals are striking out a lot more than they accustomed to. They're not receiving as many walks. The batting average is down a little bit, and they just do not come up with that timely, base hits. They don't play a lot of small ball, so they're not manufacturing a lot of runs. And you just can't continue to get well-pitched games and not take advantage of it, because at some point that pitching is going to turn a little bit. I don't think for a long time. I think it's going to be very consistent, but
2-1 pitch to Udlow's homer at the knees at 97.
And Dan, I think Franklin, how well he's pitched, has eased a lot of concerns, but there are concerns with some of the young right-handers in the bullpen of their inconsistency and how they're going to go through growing pains.
Whole half inning, Chris Carpenter has been visiting with Brendan Ryan as they discuss the future of that moth.
Now, it's scary because Carpenter's been listening to Brendan Ryan, and now he's starting to eat moths.
It's off the bag and off the wall. So Udlow will wind up at second base. It is live television, and you never know what you might catch.
Well, I remember Rex Hudler.
This copyrighted telecast is presented by the authority of the St. Louis Cardinals. It may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the St. Louis Cardinals.
Rex Hudler was playing with the Cardinals, and one time his teammates offered him a ton of money to eat a bug. He proceeded to do so. He had to chew it up and swallow it.
Here's the 0-1 pitch. 0-2. If he ate that bug, you know that Chris Carpenter is one tough man.
Well, Carpenter didn't eat it.
I said if.
If. He's got common sense. I just thought it was
popped up and out of play.
Listen to Brendan, it might drive you to that.
One out, runner at second, no balls, 2 strikes.
I'd like to see a guy of Carpenter's leadership, going to help out a young guy.
This is well hit into left. And over Holiday and into the bullpen. A run will score, and that makes it 5-0.
This little Marlins club, I mean, they're not afraid to swing the bat. Make mistakes. Too much of the plate. Five runs and 12 hits.
Center field, Colby is there. With 2 outs and a runner at second, the hitter will be Cameron Maben, who is homered tonight, along with Udla. Marlins have scored 2 in the 6th, 2 in the 7th, and another here in the 9th. And they lead it 5-0.
Helms is on deck, and Jason Mott is starting to throw in the Cardinal bullpen. Nunez is throwing for the Marlins. Let me see, Mott. Check that. Badenhoff, not Nunez, thrown in the bullpen.
And so the Cardinals will have their final chance coming up in the bottom of the 9th. 5-0 Marlins. Four base hits for the Cardinals tonight. Home Depot defensive play of the game. The Home Depot doing more on defense. Garcia to Pujols. And they would just get Sanchez by a step. That's our defensive play of the game. And a new right-hander is in for the Florida Marlins.
Bert Badenhoff with Florida last season, last couple of years. 35 games last year, a couple starts. This year is his 14th appearance. 0-4, 3 holds, ERA 5.5. Born in Atlanta, Georgia. 27 years of age, now makes his home in Lake Worth, Florida.
Here's Colby, and the first pitch is lined into left field. Extra bases for Rasmus. Leadoff double.
Slicing over the third baseman's head down left field corner. Boy, he glides, doesn't he? Make that turn there. Watch the inside part of the.
Runner at second for David Freese. You saw Colby going around. Ideally, Al, you'd like to see him go with that left foot instead of the right, would you not?
You don't break stride if you that left foot on the inside part of the bag, that part there, but you really have that better stride going towards second base, cutting the corner a little bit easier.
He really took a wide turn going into the bag too. It looked like he may have missed a stride, but
and yet, it's a little wet out there too.
Exactly.
Saw the cleats kick up a little mud and like a thoroughbred going down the racetrack.
Bottom line, it was going to be a double one way or another.
I mean, in that situation, don't try it for third unless you can stand up. There we go.
Middle base hit. Here comes Colby. He'll score easily. David Freese with 25 RBIs at the cutaway point of the season.
He gets his opportunities, but he comes through. And here, Badenhoff 0-4. And still the Cardinals are kind of battle back. They're trailing now 5-1.
Right-hander up and throwing in the Marlins bullpen.
Nunez, I'm sure. Leo Nunez. He's their closer and amongst the league leaders with 9 saves, but Freddie hoping that 5-run lead in the 9th inning, he didn't have to get his closer up.
And up for the, second time, I think, tonight, too.
Yes. I think the first time might have been just to get some work. But now he'll watch this game with a little more interest. There'll be a couple more hits before the Cardinals decide where they're going to send Franklin up. Might have been one of those days too where they wanted Franklin to have off, which I'm sure Tony's going, hey, we got Wainwright, we'll rely on him tomorrow.
Back-to-back nights for Ryan. Off the glove, out at second and out at first. 1-4-6-3. Let's turn to our Budweiser player of the game. Budweiser, the great American lager. And it's Sanchez, the starter. Highest pitch total for him in his career at 119. 7 innings, 4 hits, strikes out 8.
Skip to restart the rally. Big gap out in right center.
One and two. Could have been called out on strikes. 2-2.
John Jay on deck if Skip can extend this game.
Ground ball hit to second. This should do it. Marlins take game 1, 5-1. They'll look for a sweep tomorrow afternoon. They came in with controversy surrounding their shortstop at Freddie Gonzalez, and the Marlins pick up the win. They're now 22-19. 5-1 our final tonight.